Granola cereal has a great reputation of being a very healthy cereal, one that hikers and mountain climbers would love. Cocoa Puffs has a terrible reputation, at least among people that take nutrition seriously. But what about their effects on blood sugar? Is there really any advantage in eating granola cereal over Cocoa Puffs? Well, we're not just going to speculate about this, we're going to put it to the test. Coming up. Well, it is cereal day. Are you ready for some cereal, my love?
Very much ready for another cereal time.
Cereal time. And cereal is a very popular food in America. I don't know how it is in Africa. Do they eat it much in Africa?
Yeah, we eat cereal in Africa, but mostly cornflakes.
Cornflakes is kind of the big one, isn't it?
Big one.
You've probably never seen anything quite like this, the Cocoa Puffs we're going to have today.
I don't know what it is, but I'll eat it.
Okay. Well, when I was a kid, I loved cereal.
Okay.
I mean, if someone offered me a steak dinner or a bowl of cereal, I'd have taken the cereal. I mean, it was my absolute favorite food. And I was a skinny little kid, but I could really pack in the cereal.
Okay.
I just loved it. And, if you go to stores even today, there's a whole aisle of a store devoted to box after box and brand after brand of cereal. Mm-hmm. It's enough to confuse you and make you wonder, what should I buy, if anything?
Yeah, I know.
So you came to America. Of course, I didn't push cereal very much because by that time I was doing low carb. But when you did come, you dabbled with cereal here and there.
Yeah.
And a little bit. My favorite was the Special K protein. They actually had a better formula for it, lower carbs, lower sugar.
Okay.
And they did away with that, and they changed the formula. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember when we went to Kroger?
It was crazy, y'all.
Tell them what happened and why we went to Kroger that night.
Kroger officials were looking at us like two crazy people in the store who were packing the whole thing off the shelf and piling them up like this. And they were like, what are they doing with cereal today? Well, and then I was climbing up.
Because they had it on the highest shelf.
I was climbing up. Who does that in the grocery stores?
I wish I had a camera. Snap, snap.
Thank God you didn't have any camera. And then I got to the top, got everything down, piled it, and then we just pushed the whole thing to the counter and bought the whole thing from Kroger.
We bought every box of Special K protein cereal they had. And here's what the deal was. Special K protein had a pretty decent cereal. It was fairly low in sugar and in carbs, more so than any other cereal on the grocery store shelves.
Right.
And then one day, to my terrible sorrow and grief, they announced they were changing the formula.
I know, right? Terrible.
And it was still going to be called Special K protein, but they were going to change the formula. And before I ever knew what the changes were...
The changes were there.
I knew what the changes were going to be. Before I ever read what the changes were, I already knew they were going to add more sugar and it was going to be higher carbs. So when I checked out the new formula and looked it up, I was a prophet.
I know. We never wanted the changes, and they made the changes without asking us, what do you really want?
Now, see, what they should have done is sent someone to our house and asked, what do you think, Dennis and Benedicta?
What do you think, Dennis and Benedicta?
They didn't do that.
No.
They raised the sugar, they raised the carbs. So when I found out they were raising it, I said to myself, I've got to buy every last box of the old formula with the lower carbs. So we went out to Kroger, and they had the old formula cereal. You could tell because, I could read the side.
We first went to Walmart. They didn't have it. We got to Kroger.
Walmart didn't have it. Kroger did. So we're going crazy, stuffing our cart. I don't remember. I think we must have bought 14 boxes or something like that.
It was more than that.
Of the old formula.
Yep.
I had enough to last me for a year, and finally the year went by, and I lost it, and now there's no getting it back.
No getting it back.
So the Special K protein is still probably about the lowest sugar, lowest carb cereal you'll find on the shelves, but it's really too high. In this case, for this meal, we're going to contrast a cereal that almost anybody would know is kind of yucky in terms of health. In terms of taste, it's going to be great. You'll love it.
Okay.
But in terms of health, not so good. And that is the Cocoa Puffs. The box says cuckoo for chocolatey milk. So it shows them drinking Cocoa Puffs. And I guess either you use chocolate milk or the milk turns chocolate when you pour it in.
Sure, you're going to talk chocolate?
So, I mean, we're talking chocolate. And
I'm chocolate. And
well,
when
yeah.
you eat it, you're going to talk chocolate.
I've got a chocolate wife. And now we're going to have chocolate cereal.
Yep. Blended.
Now, let me read you the ingredients here.
Oh, okay.
First, whole grain corn. Does that impress you much that it's not just corn, it's whole grain corn?
Yeah, that impressed me. It's whole grain.
Whole grain corn. Mm-hmm. Second, can you guess what might be second on the list of ingredients? The second highest?
Tell us.
Sugar.
Okay.
Sugar.
That
Lots
is not
of sugar.
very much.
And then third, cornmeal. Then corn syrup. So, I mean, we're talking sugar and corn and sugar and corn syrup and cornmeal and
corn can turn to sugar.
And corn turns into sugar.
More sugar.
Now, this cereal by itself, if they didn't even add sugar to it at all, it still wouldn't be very good for your blood sugar because corn is going to immediately turn into sugar in your stomach.
Right.
So if it was just as bland as could be, no sugary taste at all, it would still not be very good. But they jammed in corn syrup plus sugar, and they created a perfect storm of blood sugar issues for anybody that wants to test it.
Okay.
Now, why would we do this? Well, we're going to contrast it, and tomorrow we're going to come back and eat something almost everybody would consider healthy, which is a granola kind of a cereal made by Quaker. I mean, Quaker's got that nice, gentle old Quaker guy on the cover. It looks like he would never hurt a flea, like your grandpa.
Yeah.
And they're known for quote healthy foods. So this is a Quaker granola cereal. In many people's minds, the very opposite of this Cocoa Puffs.
Right.
But the reality is, unless I miss my guess, they're not going to be much different in terms of blood sugar rise and blood sugar spike.
Okay.
So we're going to try it.
Yay.
And you're going to get to try a couple foods you don't like. One thing about Benedicta, she is not very adventurous when it comes to food. There's all kinds of food she's never even tried. Now, in this case, it's a good thing. But there's other nice foods that...
okay, it's about this cereal right now. It's not about telling it all about me.
Right, we don't want to tell too much.
No.
Pour some milk on your cereal.
Milk.
And I want you to take a bite on... Go ahead, be pouring while I'm talking. I want you to take a bite of the cereal with the milk and tell people what you think in terms of taste. Now, obviously, you can't tell them about the blood sugar issue, but you can at least tell them what it tastes like. So take a big old bite of those... What are they called?
Big old bite, like Cocoa
Puffs. Take a big old bite of Cocoa Puffs.
No, sometimes it's good to start with a little bite.
Take a big one.
My mouth may not really contain the whole big monster.
Take a medium one then.
Medium.
Come on, you're wasting time. People are going to get bored and switch off this video if you don't hurry up and eat.
Please don't switch off. Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. What do you... Huh?
It's good.
So
sweet, crunchy, melting.
Had you been a little girl in your Nigerian village,
I'll eat a lot of it.
Someone brought you a box of this and you tasted it, what would you think?
Get more of it. I love it.
More Cocoa Puffs,
more
right?
Cocoa, please.
Cocoa Puffs. You know what they
so
say in the commercial? Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, so that sounds good too.
So we're going to eat this, test ourselves at 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. Then come back tomorrow. We'll eat the healthier cereal in the eyes of many, the Quaker granola type cereal, and then we'll contrast and see how the blood sugar levels differ from the Cocoa Puffs to the granola. So we'll see you back in about a day. For us, for you, it'll be a few seconds. Well, it's time for another cereal morning.
Another cereal morning, yay!
And yesterday we ate what is supposedly the yucky, unhealthy, nasty stuff, the Cocoa Puffs.
Okay, yeah.
Represented by this stuff. It doesn't look too bad, but...
I like it.
It tasted good, right?
Tasted good, I like it, and It was yummy. I loved it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you were growing up, did you eat cereal much?
Not much. Cereal was considered like rich people's food and kind of rich ladies' food. They eat it like, oh my gosh, when they eat cereal, it looks like they're eating.
So if you're really high class,
yeah, high class, yeah,
you'd
that's
be
the
eating
word.
cereal.
Mm-hmm.
But
because it's expensive, common, ordinary people cannot afford.
So your typical breakfast would be?
Well, that would be bread, sometimes bread and eggs and tea.
Okay, bread, eggs, and tea.
Right.
Now, let me give you a little story about my cereal adventures as a kid. I mentioned yesterday that I loved cereal. I mean, it was my favorite food.
Uh-huh.
But when I would go with my mom to the grocery store, and you know they have this long aisle, this packed with one brand after another.
A lot.
I would sometimes Mom would do a shopping, and I'd hang out at the cereal aisle, checking out all the different cereals.
Picking up the ones you like?
No, that's the interesting thing. I wasn't so much going for the ones that I like. I was going for the ones that had the best toy in the package. Because back in those, they don't do that much anymore, I don't think. But back in those days, in order to lure the kids to convince Mama to buy cereal, practically every box of cereal on the back side would have a toy and a glowing description of just how marvelous this toy would be. And I would just spend, 15 minutes going through, turning the box around to look at the back to see what toy was in there.
Oh, my gosh.
When I found one
True confession, yeah. True confession.
When I found one I really liked, I would tell Mama, buy this for me.
Oh.
And my mom would buy me almost any cereal, but there was one she'd put her foot down. She just hated it. She just felt it was totally unnatural.
Oh,
that
my
was
gosh.
the Trix cereal. The balls look about like that, but they got all these colors and a lot of sugar. Of course, everything has sugar. Anyway, she would buy me almost anything else.
Maybe all the cereal companies will hear what you're saying now, and they will be like, Dennis, we want to use you, just pick your favorite toy, and then we'll have to produce Dennis kind of cereal with a toy in it, and then with you smiling so big, telling Mama, buy that one.
Well, I'm afraid those days are long gone. But now
the kids will love it.
When I became an adult, I still love cereal.
Okay.
I still ate lots of it, but I tried to be more health conscious.
Right.
So I didn't eat the Fruit Loops and the Lucky Charms and the Trix and all these real bright colored sugar stuff. I would eat things like Wheaties, maybe cornflakes, shredded wheat. I thought, okay, I'm doing myself a favor. I didn't realize that carb-wise and blood sugar-wise, not much difference. And here was the problem. I would get the Wheaties or the shredded wheat, and they didn't taste very good without sweetening.
Okay.
So I'd have a bowl of sugar on the table, and I would just lump on the sugar and cover it with some nice sugar. Or if I really felt noble and virtuous, I'd put honey instead of sugar.
That means you ate more sugar in your...
As an adult, until I had the blood sugar issues and began to realize what kind of damage it could do.
Okay, that's a lesson, y'all. No added sugars
in
your cereal.
You don't need to add sugar to either one of these cereals because they're both loaded with sugar.
Okay.
Now, this one, doesn't that look healthy?
So healthy.
It makes me feel like this is what I would want to take if I was climbing in the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains on a summer day, sun. I would be singing John Denver's "Sunshine on My Shoulder." I'd have my big backpack on, and I'd have my granola cereal, and I would stop along the path in the mountains somewhere and eat my cereal, and all the little chipmunks and squirrels would gather around me. I'd give them a little cereal as well, and I'd just feel like nature boy.
Cereal meeting with the squirrels.
The problem, folks, is this cereal has just as much sugar and carbs and is all, I won't guarantee because I can be surprised, but almost certainly can do as much damage to blood sugar as this nasty looking Cocoa Puffs. If you read the ingredients, it seems pretty good.
Right.
Whole grain oats.
Good.
Whole grain oats. Whole grain wheat.
Whole grain.
And then brown sugar. Not white sugar, mind you.
Okay.
Brown sugar.
Brown.
But If you look at the amount of sugar in this cereal,
Yeah.
this has 13 grams for half a cup. We're eating a cup and a half. This has 13 grams for half a cup. This has 12 grams for 3/4 of a cup.
Okay.
So this one actually has more sugar. Even though it looks healthier, it looks like something you're going to carry with you in the Rocky Mountains as you hike in those hiking boots. But this actually has more sugar.
With
so
all the things in there.
well, you got nuts, you got raisins,
Right.
you got little oat flakes and little crunchy things all glued together somehow.
Crunchy.
So, I mean, I can see how so many people would eat a cereal like this and just feel so good afterwards thinking, man, I must be the healthiest guy on my whole block.
Getting oats.
Getting all those oats and raisins and nuts and also a whole lot of sugar. So we're going to do this, and we're going to compare the two tests. We tested ourselves yesterday with the Cocoa Puffs. We're not going to tell you that right now. We'll get back at the end and kind of give you the rundown on how they affected our blood sugar. So we're going to enjoy ourselves, pour on some milk, have our coffee and our cereal, test ourselves 3 more times, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then we'll get back. See you in a little bit. Well, we've completed another experiment, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And cereal, you liked it, right?
Cereal,
Did you like the second one as much as the first, or which was your favorite?
The second one was good, but I like the first one better.
Okay, Cocoa Puffs has the Benedicta seal of approval as far as the taste. But now we want to talk about the blood sugar, which is why we're really here.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that taste good that are totally not good for us.
Right.
Go ahead and share pre-meal, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and what you scored at those different points.
All right, y'all. My pre-meal was 93, very good. I am so happy that I don't have all that blood sugar thing going. Now my 30 minutes was 120. And in 1 hour time, I was 102. And then 2 hours came down to 82, y'all. It was good.
Okay, and now go ahead and share the granola.
Now my granola in my pre-meal test was 94. And in 30 minutes, it was 112. And in 1 hour time, it was 109. And then 2 hours time, it was 103.
So looking at the different scores for these two cereals,
Yeah.
much difference? Pretty much the same? What do you think?
Almost the same. There is no huge difference.
No.
No.
You are better with the granola at 30 minutes, but you
Yeah.
were better with the Cocoa Puffs at 1 and 2 hours.
1 or 2 hours.
But if you average it all together, really not that much difference.
Not that much. It's just at that middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and share mine. Yesterday, when we had the Cocoa Puffs, I had a pre-meal of 112. It's interesting because when I woke up in the morning, I tested my fasting blood glucose. It was in the 90s, but it had drifted up to 112. It's that dawn effect kind of a thing. So it was at 112 by the time we got around to just before we ate. 30 minutes, 198. 1 hour, 182, 2 hours, 131. Clearly, I've got some issues you don't, because you peaked out at 120 with the Cocoa Puffs. I was up to clear almost 200, 198. Couldn't have been any closer. With the granola, my pre-meal was 110. Again, fasting glucose was in the 90s when I woke up, but it had drifted upwards. At 30 minutes, it was 186. At 1 hour, it was 172. At 2 hours, it was 168. So, yeah, the granola had a less spike at the 30-minute mark, but by the 1 hour, by the 2 hours, my Cocoa Puffs numbers were better significantly. 30 points, 37 points better than the granola.
Yeah.
So you put it all together, not much advantage, really, of eating granola over Cocoa Puffs. Granola's got the great reputation. Cocoa Puffs is looked on as nasty by almost everybody that cares about health.
Right.
But we're not interested in nutrition. And I know people are going to scream at me in the comments.
Okay.
And they're going to say, don't you know that granola has so much more nutrition and is so much healthier, and you get so many more nutrients in that nasty old Cocoa Puffs. Folks, I know it. let me get that on the record. I know that. But this is not a channel about nutrition. This is a channel really about one thing, how to get those blood sugar numbers low. And if you want to do that, the granola, neither the granola or the Cocoa Puffs is a very good choice.
Right.
Now, guess what? Your highest peak was 120, which is great. I mean, you ate 2 types of cereal, pretty good helping, a cup and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Your highest was 120. Another peak was 112.
My little pancreas handled it very well.
Your pancreas, your blood, your metabolic system, everything is humming along beautifully. Me, one way to put it with me, I'm allergic to carbs.
Yeah.
And I don't do well with carbs. So what you could handle very well,
you can't.
I cannot. Now, with the Cocoa Puffs, at 2 hours, I was at 131. If I had only tested at 2 hours and I had not tested at 30 minutes, had not tested at 1 hour, and I waited 2 hours, I would say, okay, well, 131 isn't too bad. I think I can get away with Cocoa Puffs. But when I look at the 30-minute peak of near 200, it's like, no, I can't get away with that at all.
Right.
I'm coming back with a few final comments, so we'll see you then, and we'll wrap it up very quickly at that point.
Wrap it up.
To borrow a phrase from the Apostle Paul, what shall we say to these things? I think there are 2 big points to be made here. First, you can clearly see in these tests the difference in blood sugar response between someone who has blood sugar issues and someone who does not. Benedicta's scores and glucose peaks were far superior to mine. Now, does that mean she's free to gorge herself on unhealthy cereals, donuts, bagels, pretzels, ice cream, and apple pie a la mode? Not at all. If she did that consistently, she might end up like me. But it does mean she can sometimes get away with high-carb meals and still have decent blood sugar scores, which I definitely cannot. The second point to be made is that for someone who is diabetic, pre-diabetic, or has ever had blood sugar issues, cereal is not your friend. Not the artificially colored kind or the natural kind, not granola or Cocoa Puffs, not any kind of cereal. If you're in a fight for your life with diabetes, just simply avoid it, period. If you want a great substitute for cereal, check out the video I made about chia seed cereal/pudding. Now that's something I can enjoy without any kind of significant blood sugar spike. I'll leave a link in the description below. That's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up so YouTube will recognize its value and promote it. And as they do that, more people like you will be able to see these videos and find hope and help. And don't forget to subscribe and then click that little bell icon so you'll be notified every time we post a new video. God bless. See you again soon.